French election is hitting the international press, isn't it?
That's right. It's a look from across the channel where the French elections are exciting some of the British observers. You'll perhaps be happy to hear. There's one columnist in The Independent who's saying that the internet is abuzz, Twitter is a flutter, shall we say, and they're quite pleased with the fact that, voters have just been turning out. The first round, obviously 80%, very impressive, in stark contrast to the kinds of turnouts we see in the English-speaking world. But also they're saying in The Independent that it's time to kind of debunk some of the myths that I think have arisen during the election. First of which would be that Sarkozy is doomed to lose. Well, the columnist says actually he's known to be a fighter. He fights to survive, and he will definitely not let this go without a fight. The second thing being that, listen, if the socialists win, it's assumed that Hollande will tack to the left and become a very much socialist in anything in more than name. And in fact, they're saying actually not necessarily, because particularly in economic affairs, it's actually also thought that he's going to be kind of a bit of a spendthrift. In fact, they're saying, well, chances are he'll be more conservative than he's let on, because yes, he's emphasized growth, actually, not just austerity, and that's actually spreading across Europe. So he's actually probably likely, according to The Independent, going to disabuse people of their prejudices.
Okay, so some myths being debunked perhaps there. Moving on now to a story of Chen Guangcheng, we've been talking about him in the news bulletin. He's been rather complicating relations between the US and China.
Yes, you can see in the front page of The Economist here the curious case of a blind activist, superpower politics, and the elusive rule of law in modern China. Now, this is a story, it says, about not just Chen Guangcheng, but how he represents modern China. In a sense, they say he's actually embodying the best of China in a way. He was a poor boy. He grew up poor. He was blinded as a child. And he actually educated himself as an adult, went on to become a lawyer as an adult, and then went on to become an activist fighting on behalf of disabled people. Now, what happened, according to The Economist, is that he crossed the line when he challenged the local party on its forced sterilizations, enforced abortions as part of the broader one-child policy. That's where he crossed the line. And now, according to the Christian Science Monitor, this whole story embodies superpower relations. How? Well, because as in the light of his activism, he was put in jail. Of course, he was put in jail for more than 4 years, and then he was under house arrest. Now, when recently he sought refuge in the U.S. Embassy, for the Christian Science Monitor, this shows that actually it highlighted the American defense of vulnerable people on the one hand. Well, I have to say, it's strikes a very chauvinistic note, this piece, because it says that on the one hand, the Chinese have revealed themselves to be very disrespectful of the individual human rights, and the U.S. is coming to protect them. I mean, it's obviously in need of a bit of nuance.
Well, we're going to move on to another story, a history of the US that needs the odd footnote, because a story of racist language being directed at President Barack Obama.
Yeah, now this is a strange story. This is in the Huffington Post. Now, this bar owner has a big sign outside of his bar, so it's not just the people coming to the bar, but everyone driving down this main road in Georgia. And it says, I don't support the man in the White House. Now, of course, it's not man that it says. It has the N-word there, and I'm sure that our viewers can imagine what the N-word is. Quite a racist sentiment indeed. And he says, in his own defense, the bar owner, well, I'm not racist, we're just entitled to free speech. Now, the Huffington Post says, well, that's kind of a tough sentiment to defend, because in the past, he's actually advertised the bar as being a Klan bar. Now, if it's the Klan I'm thinking about, it might well be related to the Ku Klux Klan, which I'm sure everyone's aware is anything but progressive.
Okay, well, thanks very much indeed, Carl, for that look through the world's newspapers this Friday. Okay, we're going to get a quick look ahead to what's coming up next here on France 24 live from Paris. Excuse me, whatever you do, don't call it champagne. We'll be looking at the expanding market for English sparkling wine. That's coming up in Business News with William Edwards right after.